Welcome back to the Godly Young Men podcast. This is episode 71. We are coming to you today a little bit of a, probably not our best audio quality today. So I just moved. I used to live in the house where we shoot these, and I just moved, and I'm already in shambles. I left my mic at the house I moved to. Don't have my mic, so...
Well, you're new to this. That's okay.
That's right, exactly. So we're sharing Joe's mic. We'll be swinging the mic back and forth. So if the audio is not up to its... normal level, we do apologize, trying to make it as best as possible, but we're still ready to bring a great episode for you today. Again, episode 71, we're talking about the idea of shortcuts really not working. Our society pushes shortcuts a lot. We kind of want to take the shortcut to everything, especially in our instant gratification era. Gen Z, millennials, again, especially lately, that's kind of their mentality is, how can I get to the end destination where a lot of people who are generations older than me are already at? How can I get there lightning fast? And so I'm really excited. Joe put together an awesome outline for this. Have a lot of good stuff to cover. So I'm going to hand it to Joe, actually, to kind of get us into, since you did this outline, what are we seeing in society with this right now?
Yeah, I think we are seeing a lot of people that are like, it's instant gratification. We see this with social media. We see this all over the place. It's instant gratification. But look, we at the Godly Young Men podcast are all about making progress. We're about hitting our goals. We're about making money, finding the gorgeous wife. Like, we're not going to say those things are bad. We're about losing weight and getting ripped and, getting really, really in shape. Becoming a well-studied man of God, ultimately. That's really what this is about.
All things that are kind of hard to accomplish, you might say.
Right. Absolutely. They are very difficult to accomplish. The world offers all sorts of shortcuts to these things, individually to these things. So I think I listed 7, 8 things. Going down that list, you think about the online trainings they're going to teach you the secret to hitting all of your goals. If you just pay $50, they'll teach you how to hit all the books that, are kind of Cliff Notes versions, are very, very quick, and this is going to get your life straight. And you go, okay, well, I guess that's going to... No, it's not going to do it. It takes time to hit goals and to set goals and to hit goals. All the multi-level marketing schemes, the MLM get-rich-quick schemes, you do see things like, and a lot of people, some people do make money from this. A lot of people fall into it, though, of the drop shipping and things like that, where, man, it's just a quick way to make money. Maybe there's some legitimacy to some of that, and some of that, I would say there's millions trying it that don't make that money.
If it was that easy, everybody would do it.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So kind of these get-rich-quick schemes on the making money. For landing that the gorgeous wife, there's all these pickup artists that are teaching you how to, training you or teaching you how to pick up the perfect girl. And here's the one line that you don't know. And it's like, wow, it's that simple? I just need a one line and I would have had the wife of the century? Wow, that's it. No, it doesn't work that way. You look at Ozempic, the other weight loss drugs, like, hey, you want to lose weight really, really fast? Don't worry about a diet. Don't really worry about working out. Don't worry about doing any of those things and actually getting in shape. It's really just about getting the shot that's going to lose all this weight. Okay, it's maybe it does, but now they're seeing Ozempic face. I don't know. You can Google that. It's not good. It's not good to see what's going on there. The as seen on TV products. Remember the shaker weight? That's like, this is going to get you ripped overnight. You're just shaking. Like, what in the world are you doing? That just looks ridiculous. But it promised that in like 30 days it was going to happen. You're going to get ripped. The short YouTube videos that are going to teach you everything you need to know about a specific subject in the Word of God. Right? You're going to be a guru when it comes to spirituality because you're learning all of these things through quick YouTube shorts. No, YouTube short video or an Instagram or a TikTok, those things aren't going to give you a deep relationship with God, and they're not going to give you a deep knowledge of the Word of God. But the world offers a bazillion and one shortcuts to all of the things that we as men of God are supposed to be. We have to make sure we're very, very careful with those.
I was just thinking about that scene from one of our favorite TV shows. Like, it sounds like a get-rich-quick scheme. Yes, thank you. We will get rich quick. Sorry, you know. If you know, one of those references. But quite funny. No, I would say that shortcuts, they can be very tempting because we see the guys on social media. We see our heroes, quote unquote, who they're driving the fast cars. They have plenty of time on their hands to go to the gym for 2 hours a day. They've got passive income coming in. They can kind of do what they want to throughout the day, own a company, whatever it is, and it's like, man, I want to be there. The unfortunate reality side of it is like a lot of those guys, like, it took a lot of work to get there. They didn't take shortcuts to get there, and obviously you got one guy in every 1,000 who takes a shortcut and it works out for him. That's great. Most people don't. Everybody wants to be, you've said this before, everybody wants to be Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast works, 90 hours a week? Like, he works all the time. And so, he's not just getting to have fun on YouTube all the time. And so the point of this episode is just to kind of really establish the point that taking the long way is not always a bad thing. And in fact, many times it's actually the better way to do it. And shortcuts aren't always going to be your ticket to getting rich or your ticket to, again, being the super ripped influencer guy who, is able to drive the really nice car, get all the girls, whatever it is. Shortcuts really don't work most of the time. So, Joe, what else kind of would you add to this introduction aspect?
Yeah, I think ultimately we just lack patience in this society. We lack patience in general just because we want it now. We want DoorDash delivered to me like right now. I mean, it took 20 minutes. It's supposed to be here in 12 minutes. Like, what in the world is going on? You just got food delivered to you from your favorite restaurant in 20 minutes, but we're ticked that it took 8 minutes longer than it's supposed to. It's just an instant gratification. We want it now.
They did 50 years ago, they ate sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly. And 50 years before that, like, they got on horse and buggy and were 30 miles from town. Like, we don't have any patience for anything, and so we are quick to do the shortcuts. And let me just say, I'm going to preface before I hand it back over to get us into the reasons as to why we should not choose shortcuts, but there are some shortcuts that do work. Like, we're not going to say, to your point, 1 in 1,000 maybe, right? But there are people that do get rich. You go, well, what about the guy that is got rich drop shipping or whatever it is? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, and I'm not saying it couldn't be you, but we're going to get into some reasons that even if it could be you, maybe it's not the best way, the best approach to take. Sometimes you do need the Cliff Notes to War and Peace, right? You do need the Cliff Notes, 1,000-page books. You don't have 3 months to read this book. Sometimes shortcuts can help in that way. Sometimes learning a quick biblical thing instead of having to do a super deep dive on it, there are going to be times where that is necessary. So we wanted to preface with that, where you go, are all shortcuts bad? No, we're not saying that. You have to be very careful and very smart with it to make sure you don't become the shortcut guy where you know a little bit about a lot, but you don't know anything super deep because you're trying to take shortcuts all the time.
Yeah, because then your knowledge is really shallow. Like you said, there's nothing deep there. The other thing I wanted to bring up very quickly is, and this is a bit of a tangent, but I think it does apply as far as to why are we so impatient? Why are we so not able to focus on any one task for a long period of time? And I really do think, again, a bit of a tangent, I think it's stuff like TikTok. I think it's stuff like instant gratification, 2 seconds, nope, don't like it. Like, we're constantly searching for that dopamine hit. We're constantly, our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. No wonder we're so impatient. No wonder we can't wait 20 minutes for our DoorDash food, or no wonder we can't really sit down. You know how many young people, this is a staple of ours, you know how many young people who, like, make fun of reading? Why? Because you sit there for 15, 20, 30 minutes. Like, hey, no young guy's going to do that. Why? We have TikTok that we could scroll and kind of instantly, again, dopamine hit, 2-second videos, whatever. And so I would encourage everybody, consider the things in your life that are contributing to your lack of patience. Whether it's TikTok, whether it's just always kind of looking for, the next thing to entertain you. I mean, attention span is a lot of this, and then the instant gratification culture that we live in. So I would just have you consider, what are the things in your life that are contributing to that?
I would say look up dopamine detox if you're interested in it. Because you're exactly right. It is a dopamine hit. The next, like, scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, they call it doom scrolling, right? Like, you're just wanting the next hit and the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one, and you can't really get off of that hamster wheel. This is killing your productivity, but it's also killing your attention span, and it's killing a lot of other things, brain cells while you're at it. If you are having a difficult time getting off it, you may be addicted to it, but consider dopamine detox, which is like, we want to get you back to where you can read a book, you can be patient for something, you can read a book, you can do things that take a little bit longer, and know that that's okay, because you're not just looking for that instant dopamine hit. So that is something to consider. I'm not going to go into too much what a dopamine detox is here, but you can look that up, things like that, and just be aware that that is an option out there for those of us that have a very difficult time with the instant gratification and with really being patient with these things. But, well, I'm going to pass it over to you, because in the outline I put together 7 reasons why you should not choose shortcuts. Fully understanding some of them work. I get that. And so I don't want somebody commenting on YouTube like, well, what about this? What about that? Listen to our reasons. This is why, again, we think even if it could work, you might be shortchanging yourself. So get us into number 1.
Yeah, no, I think all these are fantastic and just some really good quality content here. So here, 7 reasons why you shouldn't choose shortcuts. Number 1, a lot of them are scams. A lot of them are scams. I mean, again, you see so many of these guys, on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, that's like, I can teach you how to do X, Y, and Z. I can teach you how to make all this money through crypto or all this money on, day trading or whatever it is. I mean, you already mentioned drop shipping, and it's like, okay, play that out for a second. If you were really very self-sustainable, making good money from drop shipping, crypto, day trading, whatever, why are you having to bother selling online courses for it? Like, why are you investing time and energy trying to sell me an online course if it's making you so much money? But you do see it, and that's the thing is typically you can kind of sniff it out of like, okay, that they're really trying to make me buy this course. Must not be doing so hot financially. And again, I go back to what I said earlier. If it was so easy, everybody would be doing it. And sure, there's some people that, man, they can get really good at day trading, and people made a lot of money on crypto. Like that's not fake money like a lot of people say it is. Like, oh, there's no way. No, people got really wealthy off of that. Still very much a shortcut that a lot of people know nothing about, and they think, oh, let me just buy this coin, myself included. I did that, and didn't turn out so well. It's a shortcut, and so I would just be very mindful of the fact that a lot of these are scams.
It's kind of a lottery ticket. You look at that. Do you really respect people that consistently buy lottery tickets?
No.
You don't, because they're just trying to get rich quick, right? Like, they just want to hit the big one. You're not working for it. You're not doing anything other than just giving your money to a system that is broken and to a system where you're like 1 in 300 million that could potentially win. What I was going to say, though, is you have to, when you talk about sniffing things out, you have to realize that the guy who's in the Bugatti or in the Maserati or in the Lamborghini or whatever it may be, and he's like on this little 7-minute video that he's gonna tell you, and then he's gonna sell his course, right? He's gonna tell you how he made all this money. Dude, you rented that for 30 minutes. You probably don't even have money for that. Like, the girls and the fame and the glitz and the glam, like, a lot of that's going to be VFX. A lot of that's going to be he just rented it. He doesn't actually own that car. You can make anything look like that.
I was just going to say, it's kind of like Hollywood. Like, you see these movies where, the girls always have on the perfect amount of makeup. There's always, like, everything is put on perfectly as if, because that's what it is. It's a show. It's fake. It's not real. It's exactly the same thing as what Joe's talking about.
That's exactly it. And you have to realize, here's the other kind of tell sign. If you're diluting the pool, so you think about drop shipping, don't you think you'd want less people drop shipping if you had some great secret where you were making a ton of money? So think about this the next time that there is a get rich quick or whatever. You would not want to oversaturate. If you were smart in this, you would not want to oversaturate and teach everybody else these tricks. You'd want to keep it to yourself because there's a lot more money to be made in that than there is in diluting the market, unless your money's actually being made from scamming people and getting everybody to buy into these $1,000 courses or whatever it is to teach them. So that's how you're starting to pick out some of these scams. Like, do not get scammed, and realize one of the reasons shortcuts don't work is because they are a scam. Yeah, not everything's a multi-level marketing scam. Some of the things online, some of the YouTube videos, some of the ways to lose weight. Ozempic, are people losing weight from that? Yes, but ultimately, what are the consequences of it? So we don't get into that per se on my outline, but you have to consider whether it's a scam or not. There are consequences to these things. Things like Ozempic, you are the guinea pig. This is all fairly new. You are the guinea pig to this. You don't know what might happen in 10, 15 years. So maybe it's a great way to lose weight, but it's a shortcut, and you're not ultimately going to be proud of yourself, which we'll get to down the line. But yes, number one, many are scams. Get us to number two.
No, you go ahead and get us to number two. I'll get us to number three. This
okay.
is one
Okay.
I think
so number two is that it's good to develop patience. We already talked about we lack patience. This is a no-brainer. It's good to develop patience. We know it's biblical. God wants us to be patient. Talk about, well, don't ever pray for patience because we do want to pray for patience. We do want God to test us in that way where we do learn to just be patient and to wait on the Lord. You see this a lot in the Psalms, right? Like waiting on the Lord, waiting on Him to act because we want it now. Like, God, where are you? Why don't you just show up? Why don't you do these things for me? God's not a genie in a bottle. Sometimes it takes patience to say, you know what? I'm not feeling Him right now. I'm not feeling His presence. I'm not seeing where He's leading me. I need to be patient and to sit and to wait on the Lord. That's a big part of Scripture in that. But there's also just secular tests, the marshmallow test. I think it's in Stanford going back to 1972 maybe. They had a marshmallow test that James Clear talks about, and the guy that wrote Atomic Habits. And the whole point of it was they'd put a marshmallow down, and there'd be a guy in a room with a 5-year-old kid, and he'd say to the 5-year-old kid, okay, if I'm going to leave the room for a second, but if you leave that marshmallow alone, it's still here when I get back, you'll get 2. You can eat it now if you want, but if you wait till I get back, so it'd be like a 15 minutes they're gone, and the kid would have to wait for 15 minutes. And I think some would say 5 and others say 15 minutes. Either way, to a kid, that's an eternity. But if you wait, then you come back and you get 2 marshmallows. Just to see like how impulsive our kids. I think 67% failed the test. It was a lot harder for the other ones, even if they did pass the test. What was very interesting, and he has these results on his website, but those who waited, this is at 5 years old, those who waited had higher SAT scores. They did not engage in drinking, drugs, things like that near as much. prison was far less. Like, there's so many positive things down the line that happen, and you go, okay, correlation doesn't equal causation. Not necessarily. At the same time, isn't it interesting that the kids that had the ability to wait and delay their gratification went further in life? That's pretty common sense when you think about it. Like, if you're instant gratification and you're always trying to get the shortcut, you're not going to go very far in life, because shortcuts ultimately get you pretty short. Like, they're not the long path toward actual wealth, toward actual freedom, toward actual whatever else you're chasing. So it's really good to develop patience. But I'm going to pass over to Will for number 3.
Yeah, I would just say on that as well, just real quick, that demonstrates self-control. I mean, something that you have to score well on tests, have to do well in really anything in life. And so, yeah, I think that ties into that as well, patience, self-control. Number 3, third reason why you should not take shortcuts is because it kind of causes you to look down on hard work. It kind of causes you to look at people who work hard like those losers, those suckers, right? They don't know anything, Work smarter, not harder, you hear, right? Work smarter, not harder is not completely wrong. There's some elements of that. Like, you can work really hard to be doing a job incorrectly or not take advantage of technology or whatever it is, and you're kind of wasting effort that doesn't need to be wasted. At the same time, Joe, you've got on here, working smarter and harder is a true recipe for success. I think about like great athletes. Like Kobe Bryant was, of course, well known for his work ethic. He'd be in the gym shooting baskets at 4 a.m. before guys got there. LeBron spends so much time and energy on his body, staying in shape. He's playing an NBA basketball at age 40 years old. Like, you can't get there, by not doing that. There was no work smarter, not harder for those guys. Right. There was only one option: work harder. And that's what they did. That's why there's 2 of the greatest basketball players of all time. And so, obviously, that applies in athletics. You could say, well, that doesn't really apply to me in my career or business. And again, there's guys that found shortcuts. There's guys that knew the right people. There's guys that found just the right job for them to where they don't have to work all that hard and they make a good deal of money. That's really not the way the economy works. You've got to provide a significant level of value that people are willing to pay for, and in providing a significant level of value takes hard work, takes effort. And so I would argue, again, there's going to be elements of your life where, work smarter, not harder, but working smarter and harder, Joe, again, you got on here, true recipe for success. We've turned work kind of into a bad thing, a 4-letter word. Like, oh man, if you have to work for that, then you're missing something. You clearly don't have it figured out. The people who really have it figured out are the people who don't have to work and can work smarter or whatever. Not the case. Again, some of the most successful, Elon Musk, doesn't sleep. He works so hard. And again, the famous athletes that I brought up, like, this is where, and we'll get to this later, we can look so often at the destination. We can look so often at the end goal and just be like, man, look at their life now. You know what it took to get to that point? There's a post my wife shared with me, and I might have sent it to you, Joe, I don't remember, but basically, like, for all the people that are like, man, must be nice when you're posting about your vacations or, the stuff that you get to do. And it's like, don't come at me with the must be nice stuff when I work Saturdays and I don't sleep in and I don't get to just watch TV at night and I work 65 hours a week and I miss out on time with my kids. Like, yeah, it is nice because I worked hard for it and I sacrificed for it. And so, that I think ties very well into this one of like, if you want to be successful in life, work really hard. Again, some elements of your life you can work smarter, but working smart and working hard is going to be the true ticket.
Because you're exactly right. How much of this is really grounded in laziness? I really wanted to just get that A on the test, and so, a lot of times they can go into cheating or...
So I work smarter, not harder, right?
Exactly, work smarter, not harder. No. This is where you get into, like, you cheated yourself ultimately in losing out on what you could have, losing out on the hard work. Hard work is actually a really good thing. And you had already mentioned Mr. Beast earlier. There's so many kids that are like, I'm going to be a YouTuber because I get to just have fun and I make $1 bazillion. No. Anybody that you're seeing who's made money... Almost all of them worked their tail off from like 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. every single night, and then they slept for like 2 hours and got up and then hit the gym and did everything else. Like, they worked so hard. When you're talking the millionaires, the billionaires, we have no concept of how difficult their life was and how much they actually worked. And you look at somebody like they win the lotto, and what happens? How many people have gone bankrupt? Yeah. Why? They didn't work for it. They have no concept of how to hold money, how to keep money. It wasn't valuable because they didn't work for it ultimately. If you work for it, you're going to take a lot better care. I mean, think of it as a kid. You really want something. Now, your parents could go buy it for you. It's like, okay, cool. How many times you trash that thing? Because it just didn't really matter that much to you. Mom, Dad got it for me. It's not a big deal. Okay, you saved up all summer for this used to be like a water gun. Kids, I don't even know the kids do that these days, right? You save up all summer for whatever it is, a video game, or you save up all summer for who knows what, skateboard. And you're just working and working and working crazy hours and taking every odd job. Could be a car. Yeah, exactly. How much more are you going to take care of that thing? Because you paid for it? Because how many lawns did you mow? How many times were you up at 6 a.m. and working in the blistering sun all day trying to make a buck? Not a quick buck, trying to make a buck that you can maybe put toward the car. You're going to take care of that car. You're going to get some Pontiac Firebird that or whatever it is, like that's actually maybe a decent car. You're going to get some garbage car, whatever it is. You're going to get some absolute garbage car. But man, it's yours. You worked hard for it, so you actually appreciate that all the more. That's the beauty of hard work. Do not look down on hard work by taking the shortcut and acting like you're an idiot if you're working hard. Number fourth reason why you should not choose a shortcut. The process often matters more than the results, than the end goal. Yeah, the results are good. Winning the gold medal is very, very good. But you know what? If you won the gold medal and didn't try all that hard and barely got there and you lucked your way into it, how good do you feel? Like, yeah, you won gold. That's great. But you kind of know what you could have done or what you should have done. How much better could it have been, right? There's a story I'm trying to remember what the book is. It's either a Malcolm Gladwell book or Power of Habit. But it talks about these Japanese archers versus the American archers. And the American archers were shooting for bullseye every single time. And they just get mad at themselves over and over like, man, I'm just off by a fraction of an inch. Whereas the Japanese archers, they started way further off than the American archers were, but they recognized this is all part of the process. I'm not supposed to be great. I'm not supposed to be hitting the bullseye every time. They ended up going a lot further and getting a lot better because they appreciated the process along the way and realized every time they missed, it's a learning opportunity. I'm going to come down a little bit. Whereas the archers the American ones were so dialed in on like, it's got to be bullseye, got to be bullseye, got to be bullseye. They're getting mad that they're not hitting it. This is part of the process that matters. It's a beautiful thing to have this just to put in the work, and you're learning more ways to get things done within the process. So if you went from 0 to 100 and didn't learn anything at 30 or at 50 or at 75 or anything else like that, think about how much more you learn along the way in the process.
Yeah, I would say, and I think we brought this up before, but I think one of the biggest reasons that you as godly young men should go to the gym and should work out is not because like I want you to get to a point where like, sweet, I lost 50 pounds, or sweet, I ran my marathon because I was in really good shape. That you might look at that as the quote unquote end result, but the process that comes about from that is that you just developed a ton of self-discipline. You just became a person who has really good habits. You just became a person who now, instead of spending 4 hours doing who knows what, wasting it, you spent 4 hours of your week at the gym. You spent 4 hours of your week. Actually, like, that's the point of it. That's the awesome part of it. Sure, I mean, it's great to lose weight and it's great to run your marathon. It's great to, be a bot, whatever it is. Like if you're trying to, measure your biceps or whatever, that's great. The point is the process. And again, apply that to anything. It'd be great if you could, learn 50% more about the Bible than you know right now. But why would you want to skip to the end of that when the process of you get to spend time with God every single day? You get to really like make a cool discovery in the Bible when you're studying like, oh man, I'd never made that connection. That's part of the process. If you just skip to the end goal, that's part of the instant gratification thing. We just want to jump to the end rather than really appreciating the process. Again, I mean, I could give a couple dozen more examples, but you've got on here, Joe, like, what was it? Thomas Edison, 2000. He said, I didn't fail. You're talking about inventing the light bulb. He said, I found 2,000 ways how not to make a light bulb. I remember that from National Treasure. That's how I get.
The real story. I think he said it is a legitimate story. I think he said it was like 1,700 or something. It was a lot. Yeah. It was a lot. It wasn't exactly 2,000. That's National Treasure. You're right, but it was a ton of ways, and the story is true of like, I learned how not to make a light bulb. All of these different ways. It wasn't failure. It was all the things he learned along the way.
Right. Again, the process. And so that's a really good one. I'll go ahead and get us to number 5 very quickly. And
real fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just say this real fast. When you're engaged in the process and when you're really learning in the process, and I've noticed this from the older guys that you work with. My dad's one of these guys where he just seems to know everything. How did he learn that? Years and years and years and years and years of doing it. You become a valuable resource when you're not shortchanging the process because you recognize the process does matter.
Somebody took an online course.
Yeah, exactly. He figured out how to build a house from an online course. Like, he did it and then he failed, and then he did it and he failed. And so now when he's teaching me, he goes, yeah, I tried that. When I was young, I used to do that. Don't do that. Do it this way. And you go, whoa, that's amazing. How does he know that? because he did the process. If he just went straight to the right way, you might say, okay, that's great, but then he wouldn't be able to tell me that's wrong and here's why. So you become a very valuable resource to those around you when you're not shortchanging the process, when you're appreciating everything you're learning along the way. So I just wanted to say that. But get us to number 5.
Yeah, that's a great point. I would say for number 5, 7 reasons why you shouldn't shoot shortcuts. Number 5, if you gained it quickly, odds are you can probably lose it quickly.
The lottery ticket?
Yeah, the lottery ticket is a great example. If again, multi-level marketing is kind of, pyramid schemes are built on pretty shaky foundations that can go away super quick. Crypto, as we saw, that a lot of people got rich, got out at the right time. A lot of people, myself included, did not. And so if you gain it's just kind of common sense of like, if you take the shortcut versus the person who spent a lot of time really building up their wealth, building up whatever it is, has a really solid foundation for it, again, versus the person who does not. So I don't have a ton to add to this one unless you do, and then you can get us into number 6.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say is it's not just for money. You think about it from a Bible perspective. You learn these little tidbits of information, right? Where, I know, I watched a Bible Project video, so I know all about the book of Hebrews. You're probably going to forget it pretty quickly. Whereas if you've studied Hebrews and you've really read through and you've seen all the different connections and wow, this is talking about this passage, just go back to Jeremiah 3. You're getting all of this. You're learning this along the way. You're a lot less likely to forget it than the one time you watched a video on it and you learned a bunch of stuff and you're going to lose it. You don't use it, you lose it. Whereas if you're in it, so it's not just for money, it's for a lot of different things that if you gain it quickly, you can very much lose it quickly. Number 6 is there are just some things you can't shortcut. As maybe you could say this is the last one, but the last one I really want to hit hard. I'll let you get us into that in a bit. But number 6, some things you just can't shortcut. Spiritual life is one of them. You cannot shortcut a really solid relationship with God. The prayer that it takes to get there, the Bible said it takes to get there, the showing up to church and being around His people and praising Him and finding ways to serve others in your life, finding ways to glorify God. Like, you can't shortchange that as much as you may want to, as much as you may want to like have some deep night of prayer. And I hate to say it, but this is where we're getting into camp season where you're going to go to camps. You're going to have a spiritual high. That's not always what spiritual life is going to be like. A lot of people end up getting baptized.
It's often not what spiritual
Correct.
life is like. Yeah.
Correct. Sometimes this is a shortcut. This is not in the outline, but just as I'm thinking about it, you get baptized. Wow, this is fantastic. Everything's great. This is what spiritual life is always going to be like. No, it's not. We can look at that and go, man, I've reached it. Beware of the shortcut. There will be difficulties along the way, but it's so worth it. You just can't shortchange that process. Same thing as a relationship with somebody. You can get to know somebody overnight. You can get to know somebody on a date. To truly cherish that person and to know who they are inside and out and to accept them and to love them and validate them in every way, you can't shortchange that process. And every true good thing in life that matters usually cannot be shortchanged or shortcut in any way.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Relationship with God, spiritual life. I mean, you can't. What about with your wife? You are not going to be able to shortcut having a great relationship with your wife. Good quality time, being connected on every level. Like, that's not something that you can just, give me the Spark Notes version, please. Yeah, just show me a YouTube video. Like, you're not able to do that. It takes time. Same thing with your kids, with being a great parent, with having a great relationship with your kids. That's one of my biggest hopes and dreams, that I have a great relationship with my kids starting now till the time that they leave my house and even after that. That's not going to be able to be shortcut. I'm not just going to be able to, again, get the Cliff Notes version of that and say, well, just I'll do, again, kind of the bare minimum here. Absolutely not. That is going to take such an investment, such an effort. And again, to go to the career side, 9 times out of 10, you do not get a nice paying job with really good benefits, good time off, whatever it is, great bosses, by taking a shortcut. You just don't. You have to put in the time at your company. You have to really demonstrate that you're a hardworking, reliable worker. And typically, if you do that, as we've talked about before, you do kind of move up a little bit quicker than most people do. But there ain't no shortcut. There's just not for most people. And so again, whether that's applied to your spiritual life, as Joe did a great job describing, with your Bible knowledge, with your relationship with God, your relationship with your church family, whether that's with your wife, your kids, or your job, there's just a lot of things you cannot shortcut. And if you do, this is where we're going to get into number 7. You respect yourself far less if you take shortcuts. What Joe's got on here is you respect yourself more when you don't cheat the process, which is exactly true. But I want to give the reverse of that, because that's what I really want to hit home, is that you are going to respect yourself way less if you take shortcuts. Again, we've talked, there's some areas where, okay, it's one thing to read the Cliff Notes version of, like you said, War and Peace or something like that. That's one thing. that's kind of on the minor scale. We're talking about on a big scale. Again, all those things that Joe talked about at the start of the episode, taking a pill instead of actually doing the things to lose weight, or, watching some videos instead of actually studying your Bible, or it's way easier and it's kind of a goodness, I'm getting my words mixed up. Shortcut to Snapchat. Snort chat is what I was about to say. A shortcut to Snapchat. The girl you're talking to, rather than actually getting to know her and talking to her. You're going to respect yourself way more. And you're going to look back and go, man, that was well worth it. That was well worth the effort that I put in. That was well worth, this is what I talked about earlier with the, man, must be nice, the vacations you're going to go on. Yeah, it is really nice that I'm getting to go on vacation right now because of the last, few 65-hour work weeks I put in. Versus the person, and I'm sure they enjoy their vacations too, but you're just going to respect yourself more. That's part of being a godly young man. Part of what we push on this podcast is being able to look yourself in the mirror. I know that's one of Joe's big things he pushes is like, what do you see when you look at yourself in the mirror? Are you going to see somebody who takes a bunch of shortcuts or looks for shortcuts, or are you going to see somebody who really puts the work in every single one of those areas, or every single one of these areas, and really tries their absolute hardest to say, I'm not going to cheat the process?
I'm glad you mentioned mirror, because that's what I was going to mention if you didn't, is I would challenge you as a godly young man, look yourself in the mirror, look at yourself in the eye, and genuinely ask yourself, first off, what shortcuts are you taking right now? What things are you trying to just get quick, get through quickly? Is it school? Is it with a girlfriend? You got 30 different chats. You've talked about this before, right? Like just this harem of women on Snapchat or whatever. Virtual promiscuity. I love that term that you coined. Like, is that the way you're shortchanging the process? What ways are you trying to just get right through it? And then look yourself in the eye. Are you proud of yourself for doing that? Because I can tell you after hard day's work, specifically manual labor, and I don't have, and it's kind of unfortunate. I don't think you have more of one because you're on your feet all day, but neither of us have like ultra manual labor jobs. There is something to be said about that where it's like, man, you get done after the end of the day. And it's like, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the work that I put in. And I know when I hit the gym, I'm proud of that. When I do help clients and I've had a 8-session day and I feel like I was engaged, I'm proud of that. I can't shortchange that. I can't take a shortcut to help my clients. It's a process along the way. You can't take a shortcut in your job. You have steps that you're taking all along the way to make Chick-fil-A the best it can be. There is no shortcut to that. There are tips along the way. There are tricks. There are things that might help. There are things there's great advice to be had, but there's no shortcut to this. And even if I could take it, I don't know that I would, because I respect myself that much more for putting in the work. That doesn't mean that taking the slow boat to China all the time is the best way to do it. It does not mean that you have to, do it the exact hard, the David Goggins, like put yourself through ridiculous just to prove that you can. I'm not saying you have to do that. Be smart about it. But man, I respect myself looking at myself in the mirror when I know I've done an honest, hard day's work. And I wasn't just trying to get by and again, the shortcuts right and left. Like, I did that. I get done with it. And I can look at myself and go, I did that. And that's really, really cool. And this is what helps build self-esteem. Shortcuts destroy self-esteem because and I know.
You didn't earn it.
I didn't earn it. I kind of cheated the process. Great, I got rich. Yeah, but you didn't learn any of the lessons along the way. So how do you know if you're going to keep it? Again, you might lose it. It's the same thing. If you gain it fast, you might lose it fast. How do you know you're going to keep it? Whereas if I learned it along the way, man, I respect myself and I know what it took to get there, so I know I can do it again. And this is where self-esteem and self-respect and everything just starts to build and build and build, is I know who I am. At my core, I know who I am, and I'm proud of who I am, not in some arrogant, haughty, unchristian way, but just enough to say, I know what I'm capable of because I really put in the work. How can you ever know what you're capable of and ever know what your full potential is if you're just taking shortcuts all the time? You will never know. And so you're robbing the world and you're robbing yourself of true knowledge of like, what could you be if you really put in the effort? So don't cheat the process. Do not take shortcuts. It just doesn't work, and you're not going to respect yourself if you do.
It's a great way to wrap. I don't have much to add. Again, fantastic outline. I hope this was something that a lot of you guys, again, the culture and society is going to try to push you to these shortcuts. You're going to be tempted to because it is a lot of work that you just might look at and go, man, I don't have to do all this work. I can just take this shortcut. Hopefully we've illustrated for you. Doesn't always work out that way, and it's probably not good if it does. And so, great outline, Joe. Awesome stuff. This has been episode 71. We will be back next week. Hopefully better audio situation for episode 72 of the Godly Young Men podcast. We thank you very much for watching and listening. We'll talk to you next week.